Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today I am going to be painting on this. Now this is a Dungeons and Dragons dragon miniature sort of statue thing, and I saw this at my local EB Games, and it's not exactly the place where you'd think you'd find art projects, but I seen it and I really wanted it, so I decided to get it for a video. Now I'm going to be starting with painting on this, and I didn't actually prime it or anything because it said that it came pre-primed and ready to paint, so that was really convenient. So I'm going in with my regular acrylic paints. Now I know you can get sort of model painting paints specifically made for this purpose, however I just didn't see the point because I'm pretty much a novice at this. This is my first miniature, and yeah. So the color I'm starting off with is this very dark blue. This is a storm blue with my sonjas paints there. It's a sort of a premix color, and I thought that this would fit really nicely because this is supposed to be a young blue dragon, and the reason I'm picking a really dark color is because with this painting method I really wanted to go from dark to light. So after I got all of that blue down, I didn't care too much about it being sort of even because most of it would be covered up by other paints, and we're going in with a lighter blue color. Now with this blue color I sort of just took the original storm blue and then I added a little bit of white to it and also a little bit of a sort of aqua color just to sort of brighten it up a little bit more. And I went pretty much over the whole thing, just adding a little bit of texture here and there, covering up most of the dark blue color while leaving some areas in the sort of crevices and shadows here and there that would sort of need shadows. Now I tried to leave a little bit of texture on the tail because I felt like a little bit of texture on those plates would look really nice, but it wasn't really an issue when I went over the legs because the legs already have a lot of texture on them. And I pretty much just had to rub the paintbrush very lightly over the surface and it would catch on the sort of higher parts of the bumps and leave the sort of crevices and stuff like that pretty much bare. So with this method I pretty much went over the whole dragon with this sort of mid-tone color, leaving most of it blue while having little bits here and there with a really dark blue. So after I got all of that blue down, I went in and I pretty much grabbed a lot of white and then a little bit of that sort of aqua color, and then I mixed them together to make a really bright sort of more greenish blue color. And I went over and I did pretty much the same exact method, however I did it mostly in areas where there would be more sort of light and highlights. I was a little bit more sparing on the tail because I wanted to leave some of that mid-tone color behind while also, you know, emphasizing some areas here and there. I really didn't want to go overboard with this color because it is very bright, but I tried to make sure that I put little highlights here and there wherever I felt it needed it. These areas are mostly include the head, the back, the knuckles, and little bits here and there on the wings. I kind of wanted to go another step further, so I took just a very little bit of pure white and I added this in the same sort of technique, and I went over just the areas that I felt like would need a little bit more emphasis. These areas are very, very small. They include the tips of the sort of spikes, little parts of the knuckles here and there, small amounts on the scales just to sort of, you know, draw your eye to the sharp plates, and just areas where I felt like it would have more sun on it and it needed a little bit more texture. Now after this, I decided I wanted to make the belly and underside colors a different sort of color. So I decided to go in with a lot of bright white mixed with a small amount of blue and give it a little bit of a lighter underside. I felt like this would add just a little bit more contrast and you know, just a little bit of variation here and there, because I didn't want this pretty much the whole pattern all over, and I felt like a little bit more brightness underneath would help emphasize some areas and just add a little bit more brightness to it. It is time to go on to the wings. Now I wanted a little bit more color because I felt like there was a whole lot of blue on this blue dragon, and I wanted a little bit more of a hue shift. So I took a blue violet color, which is a sort of more purplish blue, and I went over all of the wing membranes and did a nice sort of bright coat of that. I wanted to cover pretty much all of the areas where the membranes of the wings are and fix some areas where I've sort of got that blue on there accidentally, and yeah. After this, I wanted to add a little bit more pattern to it because I felt like there was a lot of texture and interest and detail in this dragon, but I wanted a little bit of a change. I wanted a little bit more contrast in the patterns and stuff like that, so I decided to go over all of the wing areas and add some dots. Now I did this with a few colors, pretty much the colors that I had originally put on this dragon, but a few new colors as well. I did a lot of blues, blue violets mixed with a little bit of white, and then I added a bit of purple on there. Now it was a bit of a toss-up between purple or green. I knew I wanted to pick a color that was close to blue on the spectrum, but I don't know, I just felt like purple fit really nicely, and it is one of my favorite colors as well, so I couldn't help it, I had to put purple on there. After this, I added just a little bit of watercolor just to some areas to add a little bit more shadow, and I also stained that little sort of fire electricity thing that came with it purple just so that it looked a bit cooler. And here is the final results, and honestly I love this. I think it looks really cool, and I feel like it's a pretty good go for my first ever miniature sort of model painting, and I really like it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know what you think below. Be kind to me as well, because this is my first ever model painting and I've probably made a few mistakes here and there in this, but overall I really like it. So if you're new here on my channel, welcome. I do a lot of art, I do a lot of creativity, sort of crafty type things, and I hope you'll check out all of my other videos on my channel as well. I have lots of playlists, and yeah, please smash that subscribe button to get your squirrel fix in the future, and I will see you in my next video. Bye everyone.